Welcome! Today we are stitching Pawty time. I think this is only my second project ever with dogs, so sorry I'm a little low on the dogs. Hopefully this starts to make up for it. I'm starting with the sunglasses. We're going to start on the corgi here. I have 2 strands and I am just doing a little split stitch here. It does not have to look good because it's going to get covered. So split stitch, I make a stitch and I come up underneath that stitch to split it and I go down and I keep going. Actually here I'm going to do a back split stitch. So I'm going to come up like half a stitch away and then split the previous stitch, but in this case, see how this stitch kind of overlapped here a little bit? I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of just put it back where I want it. I don't think I split it, did I? Oh, I actually did split it. Okay, good. Excuse me. So sometimes I prefer a back split stitch because, well, it's easier to see. It's easier to split when you can actually see where you're splitting down into versus, I don't think I split that. I need glasses, y'all. That's just what it comes down to. Once again, this is all going to get covered. So if you don't end up doing a split stitch, you could do back stitch, you could do stem stitch. I don't know why you'd want to do the work of stem stitch when you're just going to cover it, but so all I'm trying to do is just build up a little base here. I think I'm just going to kind of focus on the left side of the face. So I'll go ahead and pause with that there. We're going to use this later way over here, so I'm going to just leave this over here and hope that it doesn't get tangled up into anything else. Alright, so now I have my full 6 strands. So if the bulk of the 6 strands is just like, no thank you. You don't have to use 6 strands, you can use fewer. So you can see here, I did use the 6 strands and it kind of creates this texture that I like. I think it looks cool. If you want your sunglasses to maybe not have that texture, you might want to use fewer strands. So basically, I'm going to cover all of this. Stitches. And as we move around the glasses, the stitch direction needs to change a little bit so that the stitches that are at the center kind of get squished together. I don't know if I said that right. Like the points where we come down, some of them are going to share holes basically. Oops. My eyes stopped working for a second. I should have got some eye drops before I started. It's so dry here. We also have a tree getting cut down next door, so that's a little loud. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. And then my son's home for school for summer break. Hopefully he won't forget that he's not supposed to bug me right now, but we cannot guarantee that. Okay, so I'm gonna, what's nice is like see how the inside it's kind of like there's a blob there and a blob there. I'll be able to correct that when I come in with the black and hide it. So I'm not too worried about that. But if there's any weirdness on the outside, you probably want to correct that. I'm gonna jump to the top just because of the stitch angle. So you can see with this full 6 ply, I get this like, right, I get these little bumps, which, like I said, I kind of like. I think it kind of makes it look like the sunglasses are scalloped or something. It's like a happy accident. But if you want yours to look more, I don't know, flat, like less textured, you actually might want to just like swap what we're doing. So like use the 6 ply to do the padding and then cover it with the 2 ply or even a single ply. It's gonna take longer. Sometimes that's like the question I ask myself when I'm designing something. It's like the balance between like how long it takes and how much benefit there actually is. So at this point, I just kind of, oops, I keep going. My little box of floss just got flipped. And I woke up the cat, which is even worse. So here there's just going to be like a couple of stitches this way on that nose bridge in between the 2 frames. Okay, and then I'm going to keep going here. So I will say all these stitches are definitely adding a lot of bulk. And I think that's probably a true statement for the whole piece, that like there's a lot going on. Especially, you know, there's all that turkey work. There's work like this with a full 6 ply with a lot of stitches in a small space. What do we have here? Oh, who are you? Let's give that a little trim. I just got these like curved scissors and I'm loving them. Okay, so that is to say, about all that bulk, you might find it hard to get your needle through on occasion. So use tools if needed, right? There's those little grippers you can get to help you pull your needle. If it's just all too much bulk, use fewer strands. So I feel like along the top there's some weirdness happening here. And I'm trying to decide like how much of that's going to go away once I stitch the black in the center. Maybe we'll stitch the black in the center first before I start messing around with that too much. So on the inside we're just going to fill with split stitch or whatever. The nice thing about black is like you can't really, once it's down, you can't really tell what the stitch direction was or what stitch it is. So, okay, my words, they're coming. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is basically like outline where this lens it should be. So that we have kind of like a crisp line here. We definitely don't want any of the white fabric showing through, or I guess it's light gray. And I also want to use the black to my advantage by almost using it like a whiteout, right? Or like when they paint your nails and then, well, no, that's different because they're actually removing the nail polish. Never mind, that was not an example, but I tried. Again, this is definitely a very random way to fill. I'm focusing on the that outline and then randomly filling in. Again, that's the nice thing about black, like once it's filled in, it's really hard to see what the stitch direction ever was, so I don't really worry about it. Okay, I'm gonna call that pretty good. So I was able to fix that a little bit. I wonder if I could fix it more, or if I want to spend the time. Probably not. Okay, we'll move on then. So the nose, since I have this black here, what did I say it was? Padded? Yeah, padded satin stitch. So again, it's like no one's really going to see the padding if you want to actually outline the nose and then fill it in, or just like put some stitches here that we're then going to cover. You just want to give it a little bit of bulk. So whatever that means to you. So that's my padding, and then I guess it'll look sharper if you do an outline. So I will not discourage that. think I like that shape. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, so now we'll start the fur. So we got this white and this tan. It's not actually white, is it? Is it a real white? No, I think it's like some kind of off-white. I don't remember. But basically here we're gonna do a split stitch or a back split stitch outline. So here I'm doing the back split stitch where I come up half a stitch away, go back down through the previous hole. These stitches are going to get covered. I don't know if it matters what they look like, but it does matter that they create like a nice, fairly sharp outline that we can then use. So the paws are going to be similarly filled. I'm not going to demonstrate that, but it's basically the same. We're just going to outline them and then fill them. Looks like satin stitch from here. All right, we'll pretend I went all the way back up with that one. And then we have this little patch here we're going to outline. Cool. So I'm going to start to fill this muzzle. So starting here to kind of help myself see where that stitch direction is supposed to be. That feels pretty good. And this can be satin. It's small enough. I think you can just do satin down here, but as we kind of get up closer to the sunglasses and the top of the nose bridge, probably gonna have to add some split stitches in there. So you can see this stitching on this side of the glasses is going to kind of help smooth out the shape of the glasses on the outside of the frames. Oh, why is this here? I don't want that no more. So here the stitch direction kind of can move a little bit, kind of curving it this way, right? Something like that. This one's weird. There's one stitch that's bugging. Okay, and then this little chinny chin can just be a satin like this. I have a friend that she regularly takes words and repeats them but says them weird. Like, we were over at her house and she was like, "Who wants eggy waggies?" And someone's like, "I don't know what that is." I had to translate for her that she was talking about eggs. Like, I don't think she can help it. So that's my excuse for saying chinny chin. I'll blame Amy for that one. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, yes. I feel like whenever you get out one of those twisty knots, it's like I should go play the lotto now, right? It's like, oh, my good luck for the day. Okay, so that stitch I just did you see it was all bad. If you've watched my videos before, you know I don't usually take out stitches, but that was like not good. Okay. So when you're coming in here, you definitely want to make sure you're on the outside of that piece we just filled, that muzzle. My kid's excited. Not about embroidery. Okay. It's better. Oh, you know, I was mentioning about all the stitching, talking about how it can get pretty thick. There's a lot of stitches in a small amount of space. So one thing you really want to be mindful of is making sure that you're using a good hoop. I always bind my hoops these days to make them even better so that my fabric is super drum tight. And then just be mindful when I'm stitching if I need to pause and retighten it if it's gotten loose, or if I just need to like take some deep breaths because maybe my stitching has gotten like a little bit like I'm pulling really, really hard. I think about like matching the tension of my stitches to the tension of the fabric, so they're equal partners. Okay, so that's how the chin's getting filled, and then once we come up here, we kind of change to a vertical stitch direction here somehow, so these kind of get split and like worked up here, something like that. So from this side it would be something like that, right? And somehow I pulled a little bit of that purple up. Hopefully I can pull it out from the back. Okay, so that's that. They only did half of it. Looks like he's got like a little bit of like a snarl going on or something. Okay, so for then the whole head, we're doing like an outline, basically what we just did, but a larger space, right? So this is going to get outlined and then it's going to get filled. The only difference here is like this piece is this white color and then this is the tan color. So for here, it's just like, here's my outline. Da, 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 da. And then just fill this with split stitch. You can do it from this way down or that way up. Honestly, I don't care. And let's see. For our ears, see, I did the centers with satin stitch, so let's do that. So it's kind of a long satin here. I guess that's not that long. If you want to change it and do a split, that's fine. And I tried to keep the stitch direction consistent for this, but if you find towards the corners you have to angle it a little bit, that's cool too. Looks like I have a hole right here. And then, I don't know what happened here. I kind of came up short, huh? We'll just add a stitch on top. Why not? Cool. Okay, oh, here we are. So then this, like I said, this tan color, we do the outline on the face, blah, blah, blah. And then for the ears, this is just split stitch. So if you want to, I don't know, I guess like outline the center first, maybe. I've got our girl cat here, the princess, and I can hear her purring. She's so sweet. She's sweet, but also like really mean. She's a tortie, so if you have a tortie, then you know. But the poor thing is like allergic to cats or something. I don't know. We joke that it's cats because she's a cat. That's funny. So it's just sad. Poor thing. She's always congested. Okay, and then I guess I would just do like that, and I would outline the ear. And then back down the other side. And then if there's like any space in between those two outlines, then you can just kind of go in and shove some more split stitches in between. Excellent. Something like that. So from here, I would go ahead and move on to the sweater. So we're going to use this pink, and we're gonna do chain stitch. So I'll tell you, like, if you want all your chain stitches facing the same way, so that would mean you would start at the top and do them all down, or if you don't care and you go down and then up. Yeah, it don't matter. You're just making a little cardigan here. Just fill in the space. So I'm going to do my outline, and then I'm going to kind of make my way over. So chain stitch here, I do the stab method instead of the sew method, but we come up and we go down the same hole. We have this loop, and we catch the loop with our next stitch and pull to tighten. You can play with the tension on that if you want these really loose or really tight. I feel like I'm somewhere in between, but I guess that's probably what everyone thinks about their own stitching. So for this edge, I went like, I curled it around, which you can do it like that, or you can just like have it stop like it's the bottom, something like this. So you stop with just like an anchor, like so. And then if you want to come up and do another row. I don't know why I made that so wide. It's gonna get covered with turkey stitch, so it doesn't matter. So while you're doing this, if you do it and you find you have like some gaps in between your rows on accident, you can go in and fill them in with split stitch pretty easily. So like for the next row, I would probably, like I'd come back up and go here, but then I'd probably stop and then like just add a stitch here by itself to fill in this little gap. Like here. Just a little guy. Like so. Okay, so you just keep doing that. And then finally, for this one, we've got our turkey work. Okay, for the turkey work here, it's very, very, very tight and very, very, very short. So, just in general, people usually work turkey work in rows. So, in this case, it would be something like row, 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 right? I'm just gonna do it kind of like big and awkward in the center just for like visibility. So we can actually go down to start. And like I said, this is gonna be very short turkey work, so you don't need to leave this tail very long. Just whatever you're comfortable with. So from here, we're gonna take, just checking my thumb wasn't in the way. I'm going to do a little tiny itty bitty baby stitch coming up on one side, and then I'm going to go over, and I'm on top of it. I'm not piercing it. I'm just on top of it right now, right? So when I pull, it's stuck there, right? So we've just like fastened our first little stitch. So then technically, I would then come up like maybe just the teeny tiniest bit to the right, like along this imaginary line I'm creating, and then I'm going to go back down under this stitch right here. So I'm kind of like peeking under here with my needle. And this is going to be my first little loop. I'm just going to hold it up. And this, the way I'm doing it here is very similar to what it's actually going to look like over here. So hopefully that'll save me from demoing it again. I don't think I'll need to. Basically, over here you would start with a loop instead of like this, because this side we're cutting, this side we're not cutting. Okay, so there's my loop, and then I'm going to add another stitch here. And so when I pull, once again, I've really secured my loops. And if you can see here, we're starting to make a pattern. So let me go again. Cozy down under that anchor. Pull. These don't need to be neat. I'm just trying to keep them neat so you can see what I'm doing. Because again, we're going to cut them. All right, and then here's another stitch that anchors. Oops. Okay. Don't lose your loops. Okay, and down. So what you can see is I'm creating kind of like a messy line of backstitch is what these are looking like, right? With a loop in between each one, which is great. So what you can also see is that the backstitch and the way that we have these loops coming out of the backstitch, we can use that to help us or to hurt us. So to help us, for example, when we have this bow over here, so that's how this bow is made, right? It's 2 turkey work loops, and there's like 1 stitch anchoring and then another loop, and then I put another stitch over the top just because, I don't know, to make it look more like a bow. So I'm using the angle as I came out to make this bow, right? And it's the same over here, but this time it's like 1 loop's going that way, 1 loop's going that way, and they're both secured here. And then again for on this side, this was a loop, and then I cut it. So it's like the end of the bow, right? And then also here, so I have this right here that looks like a line of backstitch is not a line of backstitch. It's actually this that you're seeing right here. So this is all just like rows and rows. You can see the little rows in there, right? And they're not, so that's what this is supposed to be, like rows of backstitch. So that would be just like the most simple, kind of the most organized or conventional, I guess. So what I also like to do is a version where it's like more poofy. So what I do, instead of having these loops that way, I will make my next one, I'll come out, but then I'll go down. I'll split the previous stitch, and then I'll pull it down. I'll still do my anchor here. Sorry, that black thread keeps getting pulled up. Let's see, black thread. Okay, I had to snip it because it was making me crazy. Okay. Oh, better. All right, so go down to anchor, and then the next one, our next loop, we go pierce down. And then my little anchor. And pierce down. And then my anchor. Okay, so if I feel like I'm treating these all the same, although these were like a little bit wider apart, but see how like I try to lay them flat? These ones are like more likely to lay flat, and these ones are like, they have a little bit more volume, right? Alternatively, we can go like this, I guess these ones are fine. So, I don't know. I mean, in the end, like, it's... When I need to direct my turkey loops, you definitely want to do it like this, right? But if you don't really care if it's going to be cut really short, you can do either, whatever's easiest. So let's see, let me look at the back of my hoop to see how awful it is. I guess I can show you guys. So you can't even see how many, you can't see, well, even here you can't see how many rows or anything, but this is extremely thick. So how many rows are in here? I have no idea. I basically did, an outline and then row, 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 and then I came in and cut, and then from there I kind of looked and fluffed and decided whether or not I needed to add more. And you can even just add them wherever, just like a random little spot here, random little spot there. And I don't know if you can tell that, like, I kind of shaped it like I was like shaping a hedge or something. So the sides are cut a little bit shorter. And it's not perfect. I mean, you can still see there's some odds and ends that are like some weird little bits, but it's really nice. It's really soft. Like, it feels like a stuffed animal. You don't have to make yours that tight and that just out there. Not necessary. If you want, you can do the turkey work there like it is here. I'm just going to show that bow real quick since I have this thread. So I'm starting with my loop, and I'm going to tack it down with this guy, telling it where to go. And then from underneath, I'll do like its friend. Something like that. And sometimes I get my thread, like when I'm done, I get my thread wet and then I kind of let it dry how I want it to. So then I'm just adding another stitch on top to kind of secure it. So there I've got the bow here. And then for the little tails, let's see, I just went down here. I kind of want to come right back up where I went down, but that's going to be bad news. So let me see. I'm weaving the thread under something to stabilize it before I come back up instead. So like that. And then here, these are getting kind of like hidden by the all the turkey work there. But I'll add just like a teeny tiny anchor that no one's gonna see. And then this goes like that, and there's my little bow to the side. Yeah, cute. Okay, and you can add as many bows as you want. We should probably move on, huh? This is the color for the glasses here. So the glasses on this side, it's just a backstitch, very, very, very tiny. And then everything else is pretty much the same as far as filling the face, doing the outlines. We're just using 2 different colors. The body, no sweater this time, just split stitch fill. I tried to do like a bit of a change in direction here so that there was like a difference between the arms, the front legs, whatever we want to say, and then kind of like the torso. So that's what's going on there. So I did add like an extra thickness here, 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 here to hopefully make that stand out, and so we don't just get like a blob in the center. So we have like a tiny bit of definition. All right, we should do these shoes. They're tricky because they're real, real small. So I think we start with that white again. I am using 2-ply. If you find that too bulky, you can definitely go down to a 1-ply. Just checking my directions really quick. I'm pretty sure I start with the soles, and yeah, that's what I did. I had to do these a couple times. Oops, there goes that needle. And my camera. The other day, I was in my car. Let's see. I was in my car, and I drove to Tempe, which is not near where I live. And I was about to get out of the car, and I looked down, and like, I usually have thread on me. That's just a given, that I'm gonna have a little bits of thread everywhere in my life. But this time, I looked down, not only is there thread in my lap, but the needle is still attached. It's like a full length of thread with the needle just like sitting in my lap. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how long I had been just carrying that on me. It was like a skinny, it was a tiny needle, you know, like a 9 or something. So it's very lightweight. And just static was keeping the thread to me. And I guess it was strong enough to hold the needle up too. Yeah, I just like drop needles wherever I go. It's fine. Okay, so we're doing this outline here, and it's just kind of the same story as up here with the muzzle. We're just doing this to help define the shape. I got these nice big chunky soled shoes here. And then I'm going to cover this with a satin stitch. For the necklace, the heart is satin, and then I just did like long, loose, straight stitches for the chain. You can even skip the necklace if you want. Just cover it with the fur. When I did my necklace, I did it after I did all the fur, and it was kind of tricky. So you may want to do at least the pendant first. It would basically be like how we do the nose on the face first and then stitch up to it. Like same kind of situation. Good thing we only have to do 2 of these sneakers, huh? So you'll notice that the dogs are sitting somewhere. I just kept it at that. Use your imagination. But if it's bothering you that they're floating in space, you can definitely make ground for them or some kind of background. call that not horrible. Not my best, not my worst. Alright, I lost my needle for the black. This one's kind of big, but that's okay. So then we have like this nice little split stitch. Yes, this is correct. Just wanted to double check. So we just have this split stitch line. I'm trying to get real close to the white here. Do not want a gap. This is kind of reminiscent of the sunglasses, right? Like we can actually use this line to hide some mistakes. Wow. I'm just adding a little stitch here. We'll see, that's good. Oh, I just cut both of these. Okay, back to the white. And we're gonna do satin stitch. Oh, what has happened here? Technical difficulties. Oh, I don't even know. Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine. Oh, somehow I cut this like uneven, so one. All right. Okay. I just went ahead and got a new strand because that was kind of hurting my brain. So here we just have a little segment of satin stitch. Something like that. I can't tell if I have a gap here or not. Oops. I might be making it worse now. I don't know about that either. So I'm trying to fill this space without covering that black line, and the solution might be to do the black line after, so, or do it before and then also do it after, if that makes sense. All right, so now I have my hot pink. I'm gonna do some outlining here. Split stitch once again. This is to help us define these little shapes and to make them stand out a bit from things in the background. So you'll notice that our laces will get covered up, and that's okay. So there's the diagram in your instructions that shows you all these places where we do these outlines, and it also gives a suggested stitch direction. So for the left side of the shoe here, it's pretty narrow. Just do the best you can as far as whatever is happening here. I'm filling in with a sort of a satin stitch. This pretty sharp angle. I'm not too worried about that side. And then over here, we fill this side at this angle with satin. Something like that. And then this inside part is satin stitch horizontal like this. See, I'm playing some thread chicken, so I'm not filling in the whole thing, but just showing you that this is just all gonna be satin. So satin, 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 satin. And then we can come in and do our laces. So let's see, I think I had the horizontal part. It's like between the two side parts. I don't know the parts of the shoe, like if there's specific names. And then I had the pieces that cross, like kind of pierce through those outer sections, right? Something like that. And then the little one in the center would be back there, again on top of the purple. And you can leave it like that, or if you want to add the little bows, you can add the little bows. So basically we're doing the same thing I talked about over here, but just like really super teeny tiny. So I'm using the 2-ply. If you want to even make it smaller, you could use a single ply. So I'm coming down. Oh, it's adorable. And then I'm going to add like a vertical stitch. Here's that sort of kind of back stitch I was talking about, but again, we're not doing this in a row, so it's just kind of a independent. And then I'll do the other side. So teeny tiny. And I will add another back stitch sort of on top, sort of to the right a little bit to make sure I am anchoring the bow on that side. Oh, it's just the cutest. So again, that's exactly like how we do the bow up here. Oh. Oh, you know, there's one stitch I haven't shown you guys yet. Is this back stitch chain stitch chain stitch? Yeah, we'll do that. But besides that, I think we're set. Again, like this heart, you can do it like we did the nose, and then do the fur up to the heart. Here you can see these are just like long, just a long stitch that's just chilling. All right, so what color? I think I need the darker pink. Here we go. So we're doing, this is just the band on the skirt. So we're doing chain stitch like this. I did mine like not as tight for the band. Like for the sweater, I kept them pretty tight and cute. Don't matter. So it's a little awkward because once you get like down here, there's not really room to do this. So I kind of faked it. So same kind of thing here. It's like I'm out of room to do a whole nother one. So we can go just like down and then can like add another stitch like this. So we can pretend like that's part of the stitch that goes under there. I don't know if I'm fooling anyone. And then here I did just like a little, tried to fit this in here. You definitely don't want to interfere with the shoes. Like, it's all about the shoes, right? Like, I'm not too worried about the band on here. If you want to just do it with backstitch, that's totally cool too. So we come up inside the first chain and we go back. And then come up in the second chain and go back. So it's just a back stitch inside of a chain stitch and it's cute. So for here, I might try to fake it, and I don't really know. I don't think I did a very good job trying to fake that next chain here, did I? Something like that. And for here, it's super awkward because here's the center, so it'd be like a stitch that way and that way, which I don't know, it doesn't really seem like there's room for it. I think that's what I tried to shove in here. But again, I think if you just put some, honestly, just some straight stitches and like even skipping this chain stitch here and just doing like a couple of straight stitches, I think that's just gonna look just as good. So yeah, should we call it? I think we're done. I hope you had fun. This is a fun one. Like, there's a lot of playing. Take your time, especially with this ridiculous turkey work if you decide to make it ridiculous. And if you get stuck or have any questions, please send me an email. I'm always happy to help.